you for joining us after this lunch session. The topic that we are discussing is overcoming electric anxiety and the changing consumer behavior. Now, as I was preparing for this topic, I remembered one television ad from my childhood. I think it was Maruti Suzuki's, where there was this kid who used to play with his car, and his father used to ask, "Are yaar, तेरी गाड़ी रुकी नहीं रही है?" And then I don't know Punjabi, but he said his reply used to be, "Papa की करा petrol खत्म ही नहीं होता." Now across social media, in this sea of content creators, especially when it comes to people, car enthusiasts in Delhi, I've come across reels where they portray two types of people. One who will have the reserve light on in their car and still say, "अरे यार अभी तो 50-100 किलोमीटर और चल जाएगी." And then there are people जो टंकी हाफ के नीचे जाते ही एक एंजाइटी शुरू हो जाती है कि नहीं नहीं यार पेट्रोल भरवाना है. So this is the context, that I want to set, that in terms of the IC engines, this is something that we have been seeing. And now when we are talking about electric vehicles, in your opening comments, panelists, I want to understand what's the current state of electric anxiety? What are the trends that you're seeing? Sir, if you would like to start, Ayush.
Good afternoon, everyone. Definitely, this is one of the key factor which is governing the challenges as far as EV is concerned. Range anxiety is actually plays a very important role when it comes to the sales and the usage of the vehicle. But frankly speaking, if you see over a period of last so many years, 5 to 10 years, if you see, the average running of a vehicle, especially in two-wheelers and three-wheelers, is somewhere between 40 to 50 kilometers in a two-wheeler and 80 to 100 kilometers in a three-wheeler. That too in three-wheeler is high because of the commercial usage. Apart from, if you see a personal usage, 80 to 90% of the vehicles runs average of 30 to 50 kilometers, where they have to commute between the home and their office. Only 5 to 10% of people, they commute from one city to another, again for the transportation as a means. But being over a period of time from last 5 to 10 years, there's a huge improvement in the government mode of transport, especially buses and trains, and other mode of transport has improved drastically within the cities with the coming scenarios of metros, subways, and all those transportation systems which has improved drastically in last 5 to 10 years. The average running of a people has come down drastically. So range anxiety is primarily nothing but the thoughts which are being embedded in the consumer commuter minds, which are definitely getting phased out over a period of time when it comes to electric vehicle by multiple scenarios which are available in two-wheeler segment and both in three-wheeler segment. Charging infrastructure is one. Swapping of batteries is another aspect which we are seeing a tremendous improvement which is happening. A lot of startups are working on it. And quick charging is the third best solution which is available. So these are the multiple options which are giving solutions to the market, and definitely over a period of time these kind of solutions will help and improve in removing the anxiety in the mind of the people.
Thank you so much, Ayush ji, for those opening comments. Dr. Yogesh, your comments on this as to what's changing when it comes to electric anxiety among consumers.
देखिए ये ना बहुत बड़ा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होने जा रहा है आइस टू इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल, और सबसे पहले सबके माइंड में यही रहता है कि मेरी गाड़ी रास्ते में रुक तो नहीं जाएगी. जैसा अभी आपने बोला, रिजर्व लगते ही आदमी के माइंड में अलार्म बजता है कि मैं पहले पेट्रोल डलवा लूँ या डीजल डलवा लूँ. तो इंडिया में ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री में मोर देन 82% इज टू व्हीलर. तो चार्जिंग इंफ्रा के बारे में अगर हम बात करते हैं तो टू व्हीलर के लिए चार्जिंग इंफ्रा का कोई बहुत बड़ा योगदान अभी नहीं है, क्योंकि जैसा इन्होंने बताया, उन्होंने एवरेज एक्चुअल में टू व्हील जो 25 टू 30 किलोमीटर 80% लोग चलाते हैं, और जिनका ज़्यादा यूजेज होता है वो 40 टू 50 किलोमीटर्स में जाते हैं. तो टू व्हील जिसको हम लोग LML को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं हम लोग, और टू व्हील की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो चार्जिंग कोई बहुत बड़ा कॉस्ट नहीं है. और अभी आपने देखा होगा पहले लोग 80 किलोमीटर 100 किलोमीटर बोलते थे, अब 150, 180 की भी बात कर रहे हैं। LML ने अभी तक डिक्लेयर नहीं किया है कि हमारा आने वाला प्रोडक्ट जो सितंबर में हिट द रोड करेगा, जिसको हम लोगों ने लास्ट मंथ 29 सितंबर को 50th एनिवर्सरी ऑफ LML में अनवील किया था। चार्जिंग के ऊपर हम बहुत ही अलग तरीके से काम कर रहे हैं कि जिससे चार्जिंग एंजाइटी ही टूट जाए। 80 किलोमीटर हो, 200 किलोमीटर हो, उस चीज को अलग तरीके से एड्रेस किया जा रहा है कि उसको एनी टाइम चार्जिंग फैसिलिटी मिले, उनकी बैटरी ऐसी हो कि एनी टाइम उनको सोल्यूशन मिल रहा है। हमारी टीम उस पर बहुत क्लोजली काम कर रही है और बहुत जल्दी हम इस पर डिक्लेयर करने वाले हैं। बाकी जैसा सर ने एक्सप्लेन किया कि टू व्हील में चार्जिंग कोई बहुत बड़ा इशू नहीं है। चार्जिंग इंफ्रा जो भारत में बनना है, जैसे पेट्रोल पंप का इतना बड़ा बेस बना हुआ है जो लास्ट 90 ईयर से चला आ रहा है, तो इसको थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, हमें पेशेंस लेनी पड़ेगी, धीरे धीरे ये डेवलप होगा। टिल द टाइम हमें एज ए OEMs हम लोगों को कुछ ऐसा काम करना चाहिए कि कंज्यूमर अपने प्रोडक्ट को सेल्फ चार्ज खुद ही चार्ज कर सके, या कुछ सोल्यूशन प्रोवाइडर्स उसको एक सोल्यूशन दे जिससे कि ये चार्जिंग एंजाइटी खत्म हो। तो हम लोग ऐसा ही कुछ सोल्यूशन देने जा रहे हैं और हमारे प्रोडक्ट में आने वाले समय में ना तो स्वैपेबल बैटरीज होंगी ना फिक्स बैटरीज होंगी। हम लोग रिव्यूएबल बैटरीज पर काम कर रहे हैं जिससे कि 18 ईयर्स टू 80 ईयर्स कैन मैनेज द बैटरी वेरी इजीली। बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हाई राइज बिल्डिंग में भी लोग रहते हैं, हम लोग 2 बैटरी देने जा रहे हैं जिससे कि वो अपने मॉडल को कंप्लीटली सस्टेनेबल बना सके।
Dipti, clearly we've got that it's not much of an issue for two-wheelers, but for the other segments, what's your view?
Right. Thank you. I'm Dipti Lavya Swain, and I will try to give a different perspective because I'm a lawyer. I'm also an investor in a lot of EV companies, and I advise a lot of EV companies on other aspects, including advising the government on a lot of policy making areas. And I agree with Ayush ji and Dr. Yogesh about range anxiety. But I think I see two points. One is when we start the day, and one is where we end the day. Now these two places, I think we are sorted because most EV companies, and perhaps you will agree, they give the infrastructure, so you can still handle the charge. The key is during the day when these two-wheelers are running, or for that matter 3-wheelers or 4-wheelers are running, how do they charge? While yes, there are some battery companies, and I could possibly name people like, let's say, Log9, etc., who are creating batteries which will have really quick charge facility as well as a longer range. Plus these batteries will most likely outrun the vehicle. Of course, in an EV, the vehicle is largely about the battery and the tech and less of the hull. But still, you need to handle that. And these battery companies are trying to help. At the same time, of course, people like perhaps LML are trying to, give out 2 batteries and, charging abilities where you don't need to really think so much and have an anxiety. But I will still, have a point there. Perhaps on the cost front, obviously if you're giving 2 batteries, then, it is likely that the EV will charge, the cost will be higher. And this goes same, just for 2-wheelers or 3-wheelers or 4-wheelers, and I would rather think that the 4-wheeler owners have more anxiety, even if we try and handle all the petrol stations, convert them, or mobilize them so that they can also provide charging facility. I think to handle all of these, perhaps swap, where we recently saw the draft policy coming for battery swap technology. And that market really will help, because as even if we try and give out EVs with different types of facilities, at the end of the day, the complete closure of anxiety will perhaps be when somebody sees a battery full indicator or close to battery full indicator, so that they can go on and do anything, and they can actually go to any place without thinking whether I can come back. Recently somebody had come to me, and and they were riding a 2-wheeler EV, and I asked them to do some work midway, and they said that मेरे पास charge इतना ही बचा है कि मैं सिर्फ अभी घर जा सकता हूँ. So things like these can come in, but if we introduce swap and we give a push to that swap technology, I personally believe that, this will go away, just like how it is for petrol or diesel right now. We go anywhere and we are assured that, there is perhaps a petrol station or fuel station anywhere we can locate. And same thing can happen for swap. And the government is really working on it. We are helping on, I'm personally helping the government in a lot of areas around providing ideas how we can build that, swap, how through policy we can make it more welcome for people to actually develop. There are some key issues about, power, obviously connectivity to the grid, etc. will be required. But with the swap, I will give you one example. There is a startup which, again is working closely with me. I'm not naming them right now. But what they're doing is, they're building tech whereby you can connect, all the swappable areas through that app, and wherever you are, you can, just like how on Google you say, find me a fuel station, you can say find me a swap station, and you go through a membership. What will happen is you just go, give them your battery, and they immediately give you another battery, okay, which is fully charged. And the one that you gave to them, okay, the charge of that is something that they're worried about. So, and this is an agency. So I think, that will really help, and it will stop queues at charging stations. It will also, help this anxiety to be overcome, and a lot of other areas, like, for example, time. People don't have time. Here you can just, just like a doctor appointment perhaps, or maybe a better example in terms of appointment. But you seek an appointment, or you land there, and you can swap your battery and go on. And with that membership, like a monthly or a annual or any other mechanism, you're not anymore worried or bothered. So I personally feel that swap is really going to go a long distance, and this is also one reason why when we were drafting the PLI scheme for battery manufacturing, the 18,000 crore, I was personally involved in drafting and helping Niti Aayog on that policy. And initially we had put conditions that it should be a fixed, vehicle with a fixed battery. But then we said that no, the conditions for PLI should not be dependent on it. But also, if you're adding, batteries from different companies, which means even, let's say, LML does not have its own battery, but it can, it can still add on somebody else's battery if they have better tech, and still take benefit of the PLI scheme. So I personally recommend, swap as really the future for EV anxiety and lowering that.
Right, thank you, Dipti. So you're clearly telling about swap being the solution for this. We'll talk about this in with the other panelists as well. But Akash, your quick comments, opening comments on this, and especially since you're there in the luxury segment as well, what are you seeing in terms of electric anxiety?
Thank you for having us. I would rather start with we being in the Indian market. We are actually open to new changes very quickly. As we have all witnessed during COVID and any new technology coming up, we Indians are very good at it to take it with a smile and adapt to new things. Definitely getting into EVs, yes, it's the future. And yes, I'm being personally getting involved with daily sitting with customers, their requirements, what they want to drive it next. They're always happy to get to change and drive something which is electric. Definitely, we don't have a patience in Indians to wait for a station or to have a mindset that if you're going from point 1 to point 2, we have a backlog where we can only drive 400 odd kilometers or yet. So definitely swapping will definitely give a push. What we see that a lot of customers today, they welcome new technologies. Like a lot of brands today, we talk about even getting into Mercedes, we talk about Toyota, a lot of them are welcoming EVs into their segment, and definitely it's open-heartedly getting accepted in the market. Today nothing is getting quick hand in the market today, everything is in a waiting period. But of course, it's in a waiting period because people are accepting it. people are making it welcome with warm hands. And EVs definitely will make a lot of change. It's not about keeping a mindset that we'll have change stations, we have to charge it, or the cost involved to it. I'm sure we all are sitting here and we have started splurging a lot on ourselves because yes, COVID has taught us that uh, keeping that piggy bank will not help a lot. Let's enjoy our life. So I don't think that X questions to have it a backlog where people think that there is a cost involved to it, to charges, to battery replacement. They all goes hand to hand. Today, the main priority for any individual to commute is to have their family safety, traveling safe, and being it EV, getting electric is definitely warm welcomed. And the Indian market is today, we are setting and closing close to next year, I personally assume, to grow to a state where automobile industry will see many fold ships in near future. We are today accepting everything which is there in the market. We, in any household, we don't see a single car. Earlier years, owning a car was a big happiness in the family till it's there. But for any young entrepreneur, any family member, being a family member of 5, 6, 4, everyone has a different commute. A mother has a different commute, a son has a different commute, a father has a different commute. So definitely I don't think there is any kind of barrier which will put EVs or the Indian market at the back step. They all will be welcomed and be taken forward to good future numbers in near ahead.
Right. Thank you, Akash. Prathamesh, your opening comments on this?
Sure, Arjun. Thank you. Thanks first of all for having me here. And I see here on the stage like it's all founders and CEOs and like really people who are heading the companies. I come from ADL. It's a consultancy firm, and I work as a manager there. So what we have been seeing, so I probably give some perspective from what we see globally and also in India. So range anxiety obviously is one key topic, and people have spoken about that. But apart from that, I think some important topic when it comes to a broader electric anxiety is really the availability of charge point at my home or in my society, and also some anxiety with related to safety. So on the first topic, the point at my home, so really like if somebody is living in a society, let's say in a city like Mumbai, where having your own car park in your building is a luxury, a customer is obviously thinking, even if I buy a EV, will I get a fixed car spot, a parking spot where I can install the station? If that is not guaranteed, then of course buying a EV is kind of a challenge. Like I know that it's good, it's efficient, it's cost effective, it's environmental friendly. However, if I'm not sure that if I'm able to charge it at home, then it's a concern for me. Same with safety. We did one survey of customers, and we found that like many people with kids in colleges and schools, and they're thinking about buying scooters or bikes for their kids, they say that there is an issue. We have seen some news with fire hazard happening. So they are not very convinced that EV is the solution for their kids. And that's also one key challenge as we see in the market as of now.
Right. Thank you. In fact, that you broadened the scope of electric anxiety and not just limiting it to range anxiety. But my next question, of course, swapping has come out as a key point or a solution to our discussion in these opening comments. But I was reading one interview in April of Mercedes-Benz International, the global CEO. Now, he was talking about range anxiety, and he said that going forward, let's say in the 1 or 2 years, from range anxiety, the focus will shift to fast charging. How much of, with this statement, do you people agree? Ayush ji, if you would like to start.
So fast charging, the most important role which will play in fast charging will be the battery chemistry. Currently, the kind of battery chemistry which are available, they they can't be fast charged at the pace what we require. We anticipate when we talk about fast charging, the immediate impact in our what we recall is how we should charge the battery within a time frame, how long it takes to fill the tank. So that's what we correlate between fast charging and the time required to fast charge the battery. So chemistry is the most important thing, the battery chemistry, how the battery technology will evolve. And I can tell you by my experience of last 14 years in EV sector, this is the only area that is battery and battery chemistry, new technologies which has to come out, where there is a scope of tremendous change. We have seen in a gasoline vehicle, in cars, there are multiple things which has evolved over a period of 100 years. You have seen ABS, you have seen seat belt system, you have seen SRS, the safety airbags, you have seen the engine efficiency, which has grown tremendously from last 100 years or so. What I feel major change will happen in the EV segment will be battery technology, battery chemistry, and how much you can charge faster. The life of the battery, can we make it 15 years, 20 years, anywhere between 10 years to 15, 20 years for automotive usage? Because in stationary application, you can still find the batteries or use the batteries for more than 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. But when it comes to automotive application for two-wheelers, three-wheelers, or cars, we anticipate the battery should go to minimum 10 years, 15 years, 20 years over a life cycle of the battery pack. Because still people assume or think that how the battery will change, especially in the cars or two-wheelers and three-wheelers, where it is still easier to change or replace the battery pack. When it comes to cars, it is tough, it's impossible to change the battery pack. So definitely battery technology is going to play a very important role. And that will define how the fast charging will come into system. Apart from battery technology, there is one more area which will define the future for fast charging. That would be the infrastructure backend available, the transmission lines, the transformers, the kind of energy which can be given in a short span of time. So these are the further factors which need to improve. We can't only think of battery chemistry or giving power of fast charging it 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes within the time frame in which you fill the fuel tank. The most important aspect, and they are very capital intensive, infrastructure intensive when it comes to transmission lines need to be changed. You have to build a heavy transformer so that you can give high peak current to the battery. Then only it can absorb and charge. So there are further more things need to be think of when you talk about fast charging, apart from only battery technologies.
Right, thank you. So looking beyond battery technologies, योगेश जी, आपके इस पर विचार, और मुझे जो प्रथमेश जी ने थोड़ा, क्योंकि आप टू व्हीलर सेगमेंट में हैं, तो जो सेफ्टी वाला उन्होंने बात करा था, जो कुछ इंसिडेंसेस हुए थे, उसको लेके कंज्यूमर आउटलुक आजकल क्या है?
देखिए, अभी चार्ज एंजाइटी और बैटरी की जो फास्ट चार्जिंग की बात की जा रही है, उसके अलावा कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल की स्ट्रेंथ है. अभी तक इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल को ये देखा जा रहा है कि इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल एज़ कम्पेयर टू आइस व्हीकल सस्ता है, रेंज ज़्यादा देता है, इन्वायरमेंट के लिए अच्छा है. ये तो बहुत अच्छा है, बट इसके अलावा और बहुत कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो इनविजिबल हैं, जो इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल में पॉसिबल है बट आइस में पॉसिबल नहीं था. तो LML एज ए टू व्हील ब्रांड एक ऐसा डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टू व्हील वर्ल्ड क्लास एक्सपीरियंस देने का प्रयास कर रही है. ऐसी चीज़ें लेकर आ रही है जो कि अब तक लोगों को सिर्फ 4 व्हील में मिलती थी. उस टाइप का एक डिफरेंट एक्सपीरियंस आने वाले समय में आपको स्मार्ट व्हीकल लाइक LML ब्रांड मिलेगा. बाकी लोग भी करेंगे काम इस पर, बट LML ने इस पर इनिशिएट कर दिया है. दूसरा आपका जो क्वेश्चन था, और क्या पूछा था अभी आपने?
जो उन्होंने सेफ्टी वाला बोला था,
सेफ्टी के ऊपर देखिए, जो लास्ट 6 मंथ में आपने सेफ्टी के इंसिडेंट्स कुछ देखे हैं, उसके ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा ना बोलते हुए ओपन सेशन में यही बोलूँगा, जब आप सब कुछ फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच टू एंड टू एंड एक जगह पर नहीं करेंगे, कुछ कहीं से और कुछ कहीं से करेंगे और बाहर से लाकर बैटरी को जोड़कर प्रोडक्ट को बेचेंगे, तो वहाँ पर लैगिंग आएंगी. और लैगिंग किसी भी जगह में हो, इंजीनियरिंग में हो, टेक्नोलॉजी में हो, कहीं पर भी हो, तो उसका ये इंसिडेंट्स होना लाजमी है. ये कोई बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है. वो बड़े से बड़ा ब्रांड हो या एंट्री लेवल ब्रांड हो, आपको कंप्लीट इकोसिस्टम एक प्लेस पर एक कंप्लीट इको टीम के साथ करना जरूरी है. इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल कम्युनिटी को एक्चुअल में काफ़ी डटीनेस सहन करनी पड़ी है इन्हीं लैगिंग की वजह से, जबकि इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल कम्युनिटी आइस कम्युनिटी से बहुत बेटर, बहुत बेस्ट है, जो आने वाले समय में लोगों को देखने को मिलेगी। कुछ लोगों ने इसको सीरियसली आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है और उसके ऊपर स्टेप ले रहे हैं। तभी आप देखेंगे आने वाले समय में बहुत बड़ा कंसोलिडेशन होने वाला है। मैं मैक्सिमम सेशंस में एक छोटा सा प्रश्न सब लोगों से करता हूं, मैं यहां पर भी यही करूंगा कि लास्ट 90 ईयर्स में आज तक आइस व्हीकल में सिर्फ 3 से 4 ब्रांड आए हैं। ऐसा क्या हुआ कि पिछले 3 साल में इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में 500 ब्रांड आ गए? मेरा कहना यह नहीं है कि इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल मुश्किल है, बट ऐसा भी नहीं है कोई भी कभी भी कैसे भी चाहे मैं कल सुबह इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल बना दूंगा, मैं 6 महीने में प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर दूंगा। एक अच्छा प्रोडक्ट टू व्हीलर बनाने के लिए एटलीस्ट 3 साल लगते हैं। अगर उस प्रोडक्ट पर वो तवज्जो, वो ध्यान, वो एनर्जी, वो सिनर्जी लगाई जाएगी तो भारत एक वर्ल्ड क्लास प्रोडक्ट बना सकता है। हमारे पास वो कैपेबिलिटीज, वो एबिलिटीज हैं कि हम वैसा प्रोडक्ट बना सकते हैं। हमें फॉलो नहीं करना चाहिए कहाँ क्या चल रहा है, हमें ये देखना चाहिए कहाँ दुनिया में सबसे बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस को फॉलो किया जा रहा है, हमें उसे फॉलो करना है। क्या बेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज है, क्या चीज़ है। ये हमारे लिए प्लेजर की बात है कि एलएमएल का इतिहास 50 साल का यूरोपियन एंड यूएस कंट्रीज में बहुत अच्छा ब्रांड को रूल कर चुका है। अपनी उसी बिजनेस फिलॉसफी को आगे बढ़ाते हुए हम वर्ल्ड क्लास बेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी डिजाइन, आप अगर लोग पब्लिक डोमेन में देखें, एलएमएल ने जो अपना स्टार स्कूटर अनवील किया है वो भारत में नहीं, आपको ग्लोबल स्टैंडर्ड पैरामीटर्स पे ऐसा डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ स्टाइल, ऐसे फीचर्स आपको मिलेंगे जिससे आपको लगेगा यस, हमारे घर के 18 ईयर्स टू 80 ईयर्स लोग कहेंगे यस आई वांट दिस व्हीकल। हम क्यों कहते हैं मेरा प्रोडक्ट रेंज ज़्यादा देगा, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल सस्ता होगा? इसके बाद भी दुनिया बहुत बड़ी है। आप फीचर फोन से स्मार्टफोन के बदलाव को देखिए। 1500 रुपए का फीचर फोन 1.5 लाख रुपए के स्मार्टफोन पे कन्वर्ट हुआ। क्या किसी ने सोचा था स्मार्टफोन सस्ता है? सस्ता नहीं, अच्छा है। ऐसे सोल्यूशन है कि वहां प्राइस रेंज छोड़ दीजिए। आप एप्पल को देखिए, वो रेंज कम देता है, फिर भी मुझे एप्पल रखना है, आपको एप्पल रखना है। लोग एडिक्ट हो चुके हैं ड्यू टू देयर एक्सपीरियंस यूज। सो वी वांट टू एस्टैब्लिश एलएमएल इन टू व्हीलर ब्रांड, नॉट एज अ क्लेम ब्रांड, एज ए एक्सपीरियंशियल ब्रांड। तो मैं यहां से एक ही मैसेज देना चाहूंगा अपनी पूरी इंडस्ट्री को। अभी नीति आयोग में भी मेरा मीटिंग था, सुबह सेशन था। एक ही चीज है, हमें अपने कंज्यूमर को, टू व्हील राइडर को वर्ल्ड क्लास बेस्ट एक्सपीरियंशियल प्रोडक्ट देने चाहिए। अभी आज से 5-6 महीने पहले नितिन गडकरी जी का एक मैसेज था, हमने आने वाले समय में इंडिया को ग्लोबल नंबर 1 मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनाना है। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, बहुत ठीक है, बट हमारा प्रयास ये है कि हम इंडिया को नंबर 1 ग्लोबल डिजाइन, इनोवेशन एंड टेक्नोलॉजी सब कुछ एक जगह से कर वर्ल्ड को दिखाएं। आफ्टर चाइना इंडिया एक ऐसा कंट्री है जो नई दिशा पकड़ रहा है और आने वाले इस बहुत बड़े ट्रांसफॉर्म में, जैसा टू व्हील का 240 मिलियन का बेस है, टू व्हीलर चल रहे हैं, ये बहुत बड़ा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन बिजनेस अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है, गवर्नमेंट के लिए भी है, और सबसे बड़ी बात हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए अच्छा है। इतना बड़ा क्रूड ऑयल जो इंपोर्ट होता है वो सारा का सारा हमारा इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा।
Thank you, Dr. Yogesh ji, for that thought-provoking answer. Dipti ji, you clearly mentioned a lot as to what, since you closely work with the government, as to what's happening on the swapping front. But can you give us a larger picture as well from the perspective of fast charging and charging infrastructure from the government side?
Right. See, I agree. I think the global CEO of Mercedes did mention that fast charging will be, really key to this industry. I also will add on saying that, the size of battery will also play a bigger role because, currently, as we know, for not just, 4-wheelers or 5-wheelers or 3-wheelers or 6-wheelers, including for 2-wheelers, size of the battery pack and the chemistry, like you mentioned, is going to play a very key role. In terms of the government, I think the government is taking, good steps. There is a lot of work that is being done to convert, not convert actually, but to add on the facility of charging infra to all fuel stations. That obviously we know that India is a massive country, and this is going to take a little bit of time. So we are doing, as I say, and perhaps somebody else did as well. We are like an elephant. Each step is perhaps slow, but when that step is taken, it is like a thunder. So we are doing that. The government, I personally know for a fact, that is working on these areas. We're trying to boost a lot of charging infrastructure as a nation. Of course, design and everything else will play a major role, because if we can't innovate, I think at the end of the day we will fail. So constant innovation and modification to that is going to take us leaps and bounds. But I personally feel that EV is here to stay. Of course, there will be issues like disposal of batteries, mind you, and I am happy to share that there are a few companies which are already starting to work on how to dispose these batteries, because no matter it is fast charging or size of the battery pack, at the end of the day we will have another issue, which is disposal of these batteries. So that is something that perhaps from my side I will recommend that the government should immediately start working on, because these are chemicals. We have some laws already on how to handle these types of chemicals, but I think this industry will require some level of work. So maybe my request or advice for some of our manufacturers is also that when you design these batteries, please also see how we can dispose of these batteries, reuse these batteries. 18 to 80, brilliant. I think if we can do that, but at the end of the day, there will be a life cycle that for every 80th year there will be every day where somebody will complete that 80 years. So we will require a lot of technology to handle that kind of disposal. But yes, overall I agree. Fast charging, size of battery pack, and generally improving the charging infrastructure across the country along with swap is going to be the future for India.
Right. Thank you, Dipti. Akash, very quickly, your comments on this, and also give us a perspective, since we are talking about consumer side as well, from the luxury segment. I just remembered, since Yogesh ji mentioned Nitin Gadkari a few days back, Mercedes launched the new EVs, and Gadkari ji was there at the launch, and he told the CEO, अगर थोड़ा price कम कर लें तो हमारे consumers का भी भला हो जाएगा. So what's the demand side that you're looking when it comes to the luxury EV segment?
See, to be very honest, we all are short of numbers today. You get me X number of units today. Selling today is not a problem to any brand today in the market. It's all about getting availability. That's the major challenge. It's not about any issues are there from the customers' end. Customers are open to it. You will be surprised to know a lot of customers today pop in with the demand of the new EQC if they have launched, or anything maybe in Tata, Toyota, anything which is coming up with electric. Even if they are buying today, which is a pre-owned or something different than EV, they still have a curiosity, should I wait and look for an EV? So customers are also today open today. They have that inclination towards getting to a station where they feel, okay, we are driving which is comfortable, which has a range. And then yes, of course, we all have that moral responsibility to take care of the society of the nature as well. What we are sitting today, what we are inhaling today, it's something we are counting our back numbers. So definitely, EV will have its acceptance, and it is getting accepted. Fast charging, if we talk about, or we talk about new variants getting introduced, that is definitely the need of the hour, and we don't have that patience to wait long. As I said earlier, today if I give you a smartphone which doesn't comes with a powerless charging, which doesn't comes with the NVF options, which doesn't come with a fast charging adapter, you won't buy it even in Apple introduce it. We all in a rush of an hour, we all are being occupied, so we need something which is quick, which has a quick response to our needs. So definitely, for fast charging EVs, they have that in hand, and customers have no hesitance to disallow it or not to accept it. They're widely open to have it in their hands and to run it off.
Right. Prathamesh, you would like to add something very quickly to it before I take all the closing?
Sure, Arjun. So yeah, I think fast charging is a very interesting solution, and it will definitely help in driving the adoption of EVs in India. However, at the same time, I also feel that fast charging is a marketing thing really. It's a technology, I agree in that, but also it's a selling point. It's same as like if I go and buy a computer, I want a computer which has like a touchpad, a touch screen, which can rotate fully, which can have a stylus and everything. I know that hardly I'm going to use all those features, but it's good to have, and hence I want a product which gives me all that features and all those solutions. So fast charging to some extent falls in such category, but also like as sir also said, I think in the beginning that people are ultimately going to charge 80% of their vehicle at home. So really, how much fast charging on the ground make difference? It's still a question. And now people are also they claim that some startups are there. I think it's called as StoreDot, which claims that they can charge the full vehicle in a matter of 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So such solutions are coming up. They are still at experimental stage, but it will be interesting to see how they are able to scale up and if it is really if it really works on the ground.
Right. Thank you, Prathamesh. Ayush ji, quick closing comments. Yogesh ji mentioned in his answer that range anxiety, electric anxiety से इनसे भी बढ़कर ऊपर consumers को देखना चाहिए. तो आप क्या इसमें देख रहे हैं? What are the trends that you're seeing beyond these two things when, as far as consumer demand is concerned for the sector?
So as far as I can only say that consumer is always right. It is not new to EVs. EV, first of all, it has been proven or it has been accepted in past years, multiple years if you see, and it is always going to remain the future, because if you are not able to meet the expectation of the customer, if you are not able to make new customer and fulfill their demands and requirements, no business can survive or thrive in future. So it is going to remain the key that customer is always right, and you have to satisfy the customer at the end of the day. He should buy your product, use your product, and talk good about your product. If you can fulfill these three requirements, you are good to go.
Right. Thank you so much, panelists, for your time this afternoon. That's all the time that we have for all those insightful comments and as to what's the current state of electric anxieties and what's the changing consumer trends that we are seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please have a big round of applause for all of our panelists? And thank you so much, panelists. Let's have a photo.